Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another podcast. And here today I have Dr. and Professor Mehmet Ozalp. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to come to Melbourne again from Sydney.
Good to have you here. I hope it's not too cold for you.
It's good.
It's good. That's good. Well, today we're going to be talking about healthy eating, healthy eating mainly, and why it's so important. And you're going to give us, particularly from the point of our Prophet, peace be upon him, 3 hadith you're going to mention, as far as I know. Is that correct?
That's right. We'll be talking about the Sunnah of eating.
Eating well. Yeah.
If I ask you, what is when it comes to eating, what are the Sunnah things? Mostly what comes to mind is
eating with the right hand.
Eating with the right hand, saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, starting with that.
Yeah. Sitting down when you're drinking water.
Yeah. But there is more than that. There are more hadith specifically about eating. I'm sure listeners know some of them, or maybe all of them, but it would be good to reflect on how we can practically put this in our lives. This is the main thing that is about Sunnah. I know I'm not perfect in following Sunnah myself. None of us are. But focusing on making Sunnah our lifestyles is a very important aspect. Especially nutrition is very important. It's what makes us who we are physically. It affects our hormones, how we feel ourselves, our well-being, our health. And indirectly associated with that is what we do in life and our spirituality as well. It's everything. It's one of the major factors in our lives. We eat every day.
At least once a day. Some of us more than once, but yes. Some of us more than twice or 3 times. But I guess, all right, so let's go straight into the hadith then, that we want to talk about, or the first sunnah, I suppose, because you talked about the sunnah of eating. What's the first hadith, or what's its essence that we want to focus on?
The first hadith is reported in Sunan Tirmizi. The hadith says that there's no vessel that human being feels worse than the stomach. So the Prophet ﷺ compares the stomach to a vessel that gets filled. It's the worst thing if it's filled. And the hadith continues to say that only a couple of morsels are enough to straighten the back of the human being. I think I'm going to come to that, explain what does that mean, really. And then he says, if you can't do that, then you should fill your stomach 1/3 with food, 1/3 with water, and 1/3 with air. And I think this is a very important hadith that we can actually practice. I have to say, when I was younger, like a teenager or youth, I really found this hadith difficult. Because I would eat 2 hours later, I was hungry. I was thinking that if I follow this hadith, I'm going to be hungry all the time. So I just thought it was not practical to follow the hadith at that time.
So has your view on the hadith changed now that, you're no longer a teenager? What's different?
Yes, I really think being a teenager is important. Like you're really growing, getting taller. Your body needs protein, so the body craves certain things, and the teenagers or young people should make sure they get enough protein, vegetables, and then not rely on carbs, Coke. I see a lot of young people out there who are overweight and they don't look like they're developing in a good way. Putting that aside, I guess, yes, I'm now better with this hadith, and I really think I'm going to tell you a practical way to apply this hadith, which I follow. The hadith has 2 parts. The first part is the Prophet ﷺ says, only a couple of morsels are enough to straighten the back of a human being. What he means by that is that if we have just a couple of bites or morsels, that is enough to be energized so that we can carry on with the day. Straightening the back means you don't lose energy, like you've got enough energy
to keep yourself upright.
Exactly. And I've actually seen this, that sometimes, you're busy, you have meetings or you've got some conferences and you just have a couple of bites, maybe a few dates, and that you feel okay.
Keeps you going, doesn't it?
Keeps you going. So I think What he means by that, he didn't mean you do that all the time, but he meant you don't have to fill your stomach all the time, like every day. So now what I do is that I carry a protein bar or something. So if I'm going to miss a meal, I usually have that instead of a meal. It keeps my back straight, meaning I have enough energy. And
a few bites of that bar and it's enough, isn't it?
Yes, it's enough. And then you don't get too hungry later where you gorge yourself and then you end up overeating. So that's important for that. Second part of the hadith is this 1/3. So how do we know? Like, for example, the stomach doesn't hold air as such. Like, what does that 1/3 with air mean? What about water? And I've actually tested this. What happens is when we eat, there is a moment, when you're finishing your plate or something, where you stop and you take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You just say, and then we continue eating.
Do we do this without realizing?
Without realizing.
Okay.
Without realizing. Just check yourself when you eat. Maybe not you, but I've never seen you eat a lot. But if you are a person that seems to eat 2 plates or fill your plate a lot, just see if you can realize the moment when you take a deep breath. That is the point, stopping for the breath.
Right.
So that's what the Prophet ﷺ meant by
the breath.
Give yourself room to breathe. So your body, there's a reflex in the body that is indicating to you that you've had enough, that you got to leave some room that is to the body, not necessarily the stomach, for you to breathe properly without making it difficult. So that is really important. In terms of and that's where I try to stop. I know that I'm overeating after that point.
So you've got to really be conscious to know that. So that's good. I suppose now that our audience knows, when you've taken that breath, it must mean that I need to stop now. Okay.
That's right. When you're having your plate and you're eating and then you take that deep breath, that is the point where you're crossing the Sunnah boundary, Sunnah line.
Right. Okay.
And if drinking water part, drinking water with food is not good, actually. People say, because if you've got too much fluid in your stomach, the acid of the stomach gets diluted and we cannot digest properly. So, but what happens is after we eat, some of those carbs, 1 gram of carb holds 4 grams of water. So we always drink after a meal. A lot of people would experience this. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying, leave some room for water afterwards for you to feel comfortable to drink that water, not bloated.
That's a good point. Yeah, because if you eat like 80% of your stomach is full and then you need to drink 4 times that, imagine how much your stomach needs to expand.
Exactly. Stomach does expand. It's flexible, but now you're filling it, as the Prophet ﷺ is describing, really overfilling or filling it completely, such that we feel discomfort, bloating. And the description of the Prophet, peace be upon him, was, like the companions described him as his chest was more forward than his stomach or his waist. So basically that means 2 things. One, he wasn't fat, but also he wasn't bloated, because sometimes you can be bloated and your stomach is huge, You can have 2-3 kilos of material there.
Yeah.
So I think this is really important in order to prevent bloating and to keep feeling healthy, that you don't eat and then faint or something, that or lose energy, you feel like sleeping. That's an indication of overeating.
But even that's true, very good points. And even the point you made about our Prophet's, stomach was, let's say, flat. It's sunnah, therefore, to have a flat stomach. Like if we really want to be him, we shouldn't be having these big belly. Yeah. Everyone's taking their stomach in at the moment.
I'm just trying to make sure we practice that sunnah.
Very good. So very important hadith. I think a lot of us have heard about it probably, but many of us probably didn't think about it at this level. So it was good to go through it. So what's the second hadith?
The second hadith is also well-known hadith, but I think people don't reflect on it as much as in their daily lives. And this is about the hadith narrated in Muslim, where he says, Food for one person is enough for two. Food for two person enough for four. And food for four people is enough for 8. So basically, how do you understand that?
So
I
many
mean, let me
ways.
ask you, how do you understand it?
One is that, we usually put too much. That's one thing. And let me know what you think. We put too much, whereas that really would be enough for 2 people. So we too ambitious. And the other thing is a barakah. There's barakah in food. So when you do share it, it actually is enough.
A lot of people focus on the barakah or the blessing part of it. But we're not saints, we're not prophets. The food is not going to multiply before us. But I think what you said, the first, is the one that we can put into practice. That is, we tend to overestimate what people eat and what we need. Like when we prepare food for a family or even guests, people end up preparing more and food goes to waste. So the Prophet ﷺ basically is saying, you don't have to over-prepare. Food will be enough. But more as an individual thing, I think when we fill our plate, we can actually fill it first and then cut it half.
That's a good point,
So this portion control, basically the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us portion control.
Portion control, and that's a big part of eating well these days, where they talk about having smaller portions. But when you go to a buffet or something, it can be quite challenging, when it's like a buffet style. But the key thing is what you would normally eat, just mentally, half of that.
Actually, we witnessed this today. I don't know if you noticed. I know we just had lunch today because I came from Sydney to Melbourne, and when I came to the table, I thought this is only enough for 4 people because there was only 2 main dishes, but the 8 people ended up coming and having lunch. We all ate, and none of us feel hungry, later. But maybe we thought I didn't eat enough, but it was enough.
But it's actually enough. Especially considering Hadith 1, it was definitely enough, wasn't it?
And this was perfectly. There were exactly 8 people. And I definitely know the food was, I thought it was for 4 people.
SubhanAllah. There you
go. And so we actually saw the hadith in practice just today. So what that means is that we tend to overeat more than what we need. We tend to over-prepare. I think maybe we can think of that. Whatever you think, cut it by half.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a shift in culture or mindset, but if we focus on it, it can easily be done.
Actually, like most people need between 1,400 to 1,800 calories a day, depending on your size.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who has a problem with weight control, and he started counting calories. He was eating double of what he needed. So it really proves the hadith.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be linked to the third hadith, because a lot of the calories are, we could be eating certain portions, but sometimes the calories can be very high, or the quality of the food can be an issue as well, which takes me to the third hadith, which is about eating well. What is that one?
Well, the third hadith is also narrated by Sahih Muslim, and it's about the Prophet ﷺ says, Allah is pure and He only accepts pure things. And whatever He taught messengers, He also commanded the believers. And then the Prophet, peace be upon him, quoted a verse from the Quran where it says, O the messengers, eat what is good and do good deeds. So this verse is really nice, and it's a nice combination of hadith and a verse from the Quran, where the Prophet ﷺ teaching the verse and applies it to eating. So he basically is saying that in this verse, although the verse says, Ya ayyuhal rasulu kulu minat tayyibat, that it's like commanding the prophets, but he's saying this applies to everyone, all Muslims as well. So we are asked to eat from what is tayyibat, basically. And
what does tayyibat mean for the audience who may not know?
Well, if we go back to the mufassir, the scholars who interpreted the Quran, they usually say Tayyibat means two things. Like the word Tayyib in Arabic means good, pure, wholesome, delightful, something beneficial. So it's got all these connotations. So based on that meaning, they always say it has to be halal first. That means the tayyib, it's good, it's spiritually beneficial. If it's haram, then it's not good.
Yeah.
Or they also say it needs to be free from impurities, like clean as in it shouldn't have any impure stuff or stuff that would not taste good or look bad. So basically nice looking, nice tasting food and wholesome.
Wholesome, yeah.
Scholars like Tabari, Qurtubi, Ibn Kathir, they all highlight the halal aspect of it. But Qurtubi and I think Ibn Kathir also highlighted it should be nutritious, sustain the body.
Right.
And even Fakhruddin Razi, he makes the point, because all other previous mufassir, they always focus on it has to be halal, The Fakhruddin Razi says, if that was the main meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said, all prophets eat what is halal. But he's not saying halal, he's saying tayyib. So it's something more than that. So he focuses also on being nutritious, sustaining the body, where it facilitates, I guess, facilitate your spirituality. And they link it to the good deeds, because only when you eat good stuff, you can do something. You have the energy to do it, and you have the motivation to do it as well. I think with impurities, as it applies to today, impurities, if you apply it to today, the impurities could mean that the less processed, the better.
Right. That's the understanding of.
Yeah, because wholesome, good, pure, right?
Less processed, organic, maybe?
It doesn't have to be organic, but the less processed, the better it is. And with processing, there are levels to it.
Yeah.
Like if I cut a piece of apple and just serve it cut, that's processed. Like I cut it. I mean, that's okay. But if I cut it, put in 10 different chemicals, sort of blend it or something, put 10 different chemicals to preserve it, and then add tons of sugar or maltodextrin or something, MSG, to make it taste good, so that I'm adding impurities that is not in the food.
Yeah. So
I think if we avoid processed food as much as possible, then we're eating tayyibat. So that's very important, I think.
So how's that important in the sense of, or how is it important? It's important for health reasons. What's its significance?
It's very important for health, because one of the key reasons people are obese in our time, overweight, and diabetics, insulin resistance is increasing, is because of processed food.
Yeah.
It's too calorie intense, tastes good, so it makes you want to eat more, and then you prefer this type of food over food that may not taste as good. I mean, I like vegetables, I used to hate vegetables as well when I was a kid. I think you can make vegetable taste great. We just didn't know it at the time,
Yeah, it was just boiled, that's it.
But I think, as they say, a good protein diet, a good protein source, meat, fish, chicken or something, vegetables next to it, and only one type of carb. I think this is one thing why we make mistake is as Muslims, because every culture has a certain carb that's favorite. Like in Indonesia, it's the rice. In Turkey, it's the bread. In Ireland, it's potato, But what we sometimes do is have a meal where you're having rice, bread, and potatoes. Too many carbs. I think this is the main processed food, and too much carbs, as well as sugar, fructose-based sugar, are the enemies of proper eating. These weren't available at the time of Prophet ﷺ. So their diet was pretty good. That's why they just only emphasized making sure it's halal. Also, Baydawi said it needs to be earned through ethical means. But the rest of the food were organic. There wasn't even fertilizers at the time. So in our time, I think this idea of tayyibat, food being wholesome, tayyib, is a very important concept that, and the Prophet ﷺ, well, Quran is commanding us to eat from tayyibat, and the Prophet ﷺ emphasized it as sunnah and linked it directly to the Quran. So this is it's narrated in Muslim. It's a Sahih Hadith. So I personally take this seriously as a Muslim, that my diet, let's say Islamic diet, there's all these types of diet, paleo, or some other
named
diet
after
types,
people,
or keto.
Atkins diet, and so forth.
So all these diet types are fine. But I think if we follow, as Muslims, if we follow the Islamic diet, it's tayyibat. Nice, clean, the less processed, the better, and that you fill your stomach. Portions control, the portions are important, and also eating, making sure we stop eating when we take that deep breath is a very important practical guide, and then we should be okay.
That's good advice, and it's very important to follow the sunnah. I guess for our listeners, as a final thing, if they feel like that's too much, I really can't do all of that, because it's changing their whole lifestyle. What do you think is the one thing that could be changed?
Look, I'll be honest. I used to, as I said earlier, I used to think these are not practical, that am I going to always walk hungry? Because when you say 1/3 water, 1/3 air, 1/3 for food, it's like you're only eating 1/3 of what you need. But it's not like that. As I explained, we shouldn't see this hadith to mean I'm going to walk hungry all the time. It's the opposite. What the Prophet ﷺ is saying is that what you feel, the portion that you need is when you remove your hunger, and that's enough. So we're overeating because we like the taste, or food is too calorie dense, or the wrong type of food. So it's not about, if we see these as, I'm just following it because it's religion, I'm following religion, I have to do it, it may not work. But we just need to see the wisdom of these things, understand why these are said, these are hadith, and the Prophet ﷺ recommended it. And also look at it as, I have to do this to maintain a healthy life. Like this body that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is a trust. It's the only thing that we are responsible for. If you think about it, I'm not responsible for to look after your body or someone else's. The only body that I am responsible to look after well is my body.
And that's, and I think sometimes when we think we need to focus on our religion, we think I have to focus on my body as in my spiritual heart, which is important. But we're more than that. We're a physical body as well. We do consume, as you said, food. So we have to see ourselves as a complete being who does eat. Like you said, we all eat every day. We drink. So they're an important input as well into this body. And they have implications or, ramifications for our whole complete being.
Not only that, we also need to see our whole life span and the impact of the way we eat, our nutrition on our entire life. Because when we're young, we can eat anything. You may feel all right, but things build up, diseases, insulin resistance, heart disease, and many other things build up over time. And that we can spend half of our life, like second half of our life, in hospitals, taking drugs and having health problems, which will have an impact on your work, your relationship, family, and our worship. Like, you're not going to have the motivation and the energy to pray 5 times a day. The fasting becomes an issue towards the end of the life for most people.
Yeah.
That's not good, It means, yes, you can still feed charity for every day if you can't fast for health reasons, there is a accommodation of that. But
you would still be required to eat
exactly
following the Sunnah, even
Yeah.
if you're not able to fast in your older age or because you've got some health condition. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you should still be eating well,
Exactly.
And
wouldn't it be wonderful that you can keep fasting until the age of 50? Sorry, not 50, 80.
80, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So I guess if you maintain that healthy living, healthy lifestyle, healthy, well eating, you have more chance to
That's right,
be
yeah.
fasting when you're 80, and that's your point. So I guess all this is an important part of having the body as a trust, as an amana, and following the Sunnah is, so many aspects to it, and we just really touched the surface of about healthy eating. Such an important points made.
Yeah, Sunnah is a lifestyle, not just behaviors, lifestyle, and akhlaq.
Thank you for sharing the 3 hadith on the importance of eating well. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. And see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.